Oh man, thank you guys for coming in here. We filed in nice and tight. Seems like they get more merchandise upstairs every time we get here. We're at Lake Fork Marina. We do these every 2 weeks. We do these free seminars up here. We took a little break before the last one because it was just kind of cold time of year. We kept having bad weather on seminar days, but man, now it's time. Like we're fixing to be in March. Watch the Major League Fishing guys whack them out there this week. I mean, hesitant to say that. There's a lot of really good fishermen that didn't catch much of nothing out there. I mean, it wasn't easy. They drew a pretty tough hand with the weather, but still, I don't know that there's ever been 5 double digits caught in one professional level tournament before on any given lake. Maybe the old Bassmaster Clear Lake event, maybe. But what we just saw, even though the fishing wasn't all that great as far as giant fish go in professional tournament fishing, it's one of the best, if not the best lake performances of all time for big giant bass. And that's why all you guys are sitting here, and that's why all you guys are watching back there, and that's why Lake Fork is what it is. And it's just an unbelievable place, and we won't beat that over the head too much because we got to get into something tonight, because Ryan Salzman finished this event in 13th, I believe, and we're actually going to talk to him tonight. So I'm going to ask him a couple questions right off the bat. I have nothing scripted or planned. But we're going to get right into talking to one of the guys who just competed against arguably the best field anglers on earth. That and Elite Series, you know, it's a coin flip, I think, these days. And he was the 13th best one this week. So that's pretty big accomplishment. The guy's got a lot of knowledge. But as we're starting to talk to him, I want you guys to be thinking for me and think of some questions that you'd like to ask this guy. Because, I mean, hey, I'm here all the time. You guys get to ask me questions all the time. I'm on the lake all the time, and that's great. But to have a guy that came from out of state to this lake first time and perform that well, that's obviously a lot of knowledge and a very new perspective on this fishery that can help us all out. So you guys think of some questions as we're talking to Ryan. I guess with no further ado, we'll just dial him up and see how he's doing. Hopefully it'll be loud enough.
Hello.
Mr. Ryan Salzman, how are we doing, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
We're doing great, man. You're live in front of there's a live audience here that you're live, but the camera is recorded. So if you say anything too bad, it's just going to be the people in the room that hear it, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Can everybody hear Ryan? Can you hear him? Okay, good. All right, but hey, first of all, congratulations on a phenomenal finish. This is your first year on a tour this big, from what I understand, and that's your second event. First time you made the knockout round, and 13th overall. Is that where you ended up?
Yeah, 13th for the knockouts, I think, and then you got to add 2 for the 2 people that qualified. So I think it puts me at 15th or 16th for the tournament. Gotcha.
Well, still, I mean, that's a phenomenal finish this early in your big professional tour level career, man. That what did that feel like? I mean, this is your first time experiencing it, right? So tell, like, what's that feeling got to be like at the top level, and then here you are doing well.
Well, so I fished the pro circuit for the last 3 years. So it's just been kind of building up to this point. Once you fish so many pro level events, it kind of all feels the same. I'll tell you, the best feeling I had was just being on camera and being able to teach and just show everyone who I am. So that was kind of my favorite part of the event, was having a camera in my boat for 2 days straight. So
yeah,
the great finish is awesome. Obviously, I want to win and do better, but I trust God's timing, and whenever I'm supposed to win, I'll win.
Yeah, for anybody that wasn't watching some of the live coverage with Ryan on it, his personality showed through, man. This guy is one of the most personable people you'll ever see on camera. Sometimes with fishermen, they get him on live camera, and he's like, what are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking about catching the next one. Like, that's kind of all they say. Not Ryan. Ryan talks through everything. He's really good, and he does a lot on social media. So for those of you watching the video tomorrow, or for any of you here in the audience, Ryan, they need to follow you on social media, because I've seen you on a couple different platforms. Tell them where they can find you.
So on Instagram, you can go ahead and laugh. It's ALBassGuide_meme lord. And I actually got that name because I got really sick one year and I couldn't fish, so I started posting memes every day.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Lee told me I needed to change my name to Meme Lord. And at the time, he was a back-to-back, or not, I don't know if it was back-to-back, 2-time classic champ. I was like, well,
it was back. Yeah, I think he won them back-to-back. It was back-to-back.
Yeah. So I was like, if he tells me to do something, I'll do it. So
right.
Lo and behold, here I am fishing with him now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. But, and now you're Meme Lord.
Yeah, now I'm Meme Lord. Yeah.
Listen,
so switching it to salty fishing but it just didn't feel right, so I went back to Moonlords.
You don't get to change the name that Jordan Lee gives you. That's number one. Number two is we're here at Lake Fork, and there's a few folks in this crowd here in this audience that have no idea what a meme is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so a meme is basically a picture with some kind of satire and a couple of funny words that make you laugh.
My man was posting funny pictures all over the internet while he was sick because he couldn't fish, so he got a new nickname. So, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So,
go ahead.
Oh, all right. And then on Facebook, you're Alabama Bass Guide. Is that correct?
Yep. And then on YouTube is Alabama Bass Guide as well.
And then on TikTok, for those that might want to follow on TikTok,
it's at Ryan Salzman.
Perfect. There's all the ones, and we will link those in the description if you're watching the video. So, guys, you need to go follow his social media because he drops a lot of information. He's funny as hell. Like he's one of the guys you want to follow out of all these big name guys on tour. So he's got great stuff going on. All right, Ryan, let's talk about it because one thing that I think gets missed that doesn't ever get seen in these coverage of these events. I mean, you briefly spoke about this not too long ago. Is how close you can be, but how far away you can be at the same time. I know for those of us that watch live coverage in the championship round today, we watched Zach Burge dump two that were probably around 8 pounds or bigger, 7 or 8 pounds or bigger. You add 15, 16 pounds to his weight, he's up there in the finals at 40, and he's one bite away too. Man, he had a tough time, and you had a similar experience losing some big fish this week. But also, there's other ways that we never get to see on camera where sometimes you've got an area scouted out and you're fishing it, then all of a sudden we get to knockout round and somebody's there.
Mm-hmm.
How tough is it to? I mean, you just got to have everything kind of go your way in these. I mean, you were really, really close to being in the right area, weren't you?
Oh, well, I was 100% in the right area. So I had actually started my tournament up the Caney Arm, and there's a road bed that's kind of out of the water back there, and it's holding a lot of fish right now. And me and Dave Lefebvre kind of got into it. I got the hole first, and I said, look, I'm going to fish it, and if I don't catch it, then you can have it. And he actually ended up making the knockout round out of that one spot. He sat there the whole tournament. And so after that, I made a move to Little Caney, to the very back, and that's where I did a lot of my damage in the tournament. It became my primary area, and that was actually where I had caught my first squarebill fish in pre-practice. I came right about beginning of January, and I wanted to look for something that I thought would be trending towards, end of February. Fish should start pulling up on some warmer. And what stood out to me were the ditches. And I watched your YouTube a ton, and you talk about all these creek channels. And normally, you'd be catching them on a jig and whatever, and where they're pushing it back to stage. However, because the lake is 6.5 feet low, what would be 9 or 10 feet is now 3 to 4 feet.
Correct.
And so outside of the creek channel, it's a foot, 2 feet, half a foot in places. And basically, I was following that last deep water, and this is their highway, so they had to be in those ditches. And I just was practicing that, and I fished all the creeks I could in pre-practice, and I got bit there, and I got bit back in Mustang, and they were both 7-pounders. And I was like, well, I'm going to try that when I come back. So fast forward to, I show up there, I catch a 411, and I catch a few more my first day, and it kind of gets the ball rolling. Then I leave it, I had no idea anyone else was fishing there. And lo and behold, Alton Jr. was fished there that morning, and I passed him on the way back there. He was fishing kind of in the standing timber on the way back to Little Caney, and we had just never noticed that we were both fishing that area. So fast forward to knockout round, I go straight back there because I'm like, okay, there's a lot more fish. The second day of my event, man, I really did some damage back there. I was on live coverage. You probably saw me, and I was catching 2 off of each stump at times. I mean, they were really pulled up. The water was 62 degrees that morning. They were chewing before, that front moved through about 9:30 and the temperature dropped all day. So I pulled in there, and Alton was sitting there. And the biggest thing I can stress to anyone, are there any kids in the audience? Or
there's one, but he's pretty much grown. He's a teenager, and I've been around him and his dad enough. You're good. Let it rip.
Okay, well, I just wanted to, it was a teaching point for kids, but we can all learn from this. So I learned this from a late fishing partner, Rex Chambers. I used to be the person when I was coming up, young BFLs, that if they were fishing in my area, I would go join them, and be respectful as I could, in quotes. But I learned from him that if someone's where you want to be and they got there first, you be respectful and you leave it to them. So I pulled in there, I saw Alton was there, I was respectful, and I left it to him. And that actually led to me catching my 713. And that was off a bridge at the mouth of Mustang. So,
right.
And which was crucial for my heavy hitters. Because if you didn't catch a 7-pounder here, you were going to be left behind.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
7-pounders for everybody.
Oh, man, 8's for everybody.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. So, but yeah, I left that, and I just basically ran that pattern. I had to cover a lot more water because I didn't have an area like the back of Little Caney. And you can get bit all over the lake. I was throwing a hardcore, shallow runner. And it's a square bill not a lot of people throw. It runs 3 to 5 feet. It's silent. Has a great weight transfer system, which I don't know if you guys noticed was a little windy out there, but it allowed me to put that square bill like right between those stumps every time. And
right, makes casting a lot easier. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And they have that new 6 cents out. That's God, what's the name of it? It's a smaller square bill. Do you know what it's called?
Well, they've got they just came out with a new swank that has the L-shaped bill. It's a smaller one. And they also have the Curve Finesse Square Bill, Curve 55 Finesse Square Bill. Movement 80X is one I throw out here a bunch, but they've had that one for a while.
Right. I got it from the tackle store over there. I don't know, it was chartreuse blackback, but it might have been called Twitch. Anyway, it's a smaller square bill. You guys check it out. They got it at that store. But that one worked too, but it was running. That was when they were pulled up shallow.
Right.
And I just really had to throw that one that dived in the 3 to 5 foot range because you had to get the square bill in the root balls. And you probably saw a lot of people talking about they ate it off the stump. And I can't tell you how many times when I would get in the root balls and let the square bill float up and out, they would just inhale it.
Interesting.
It was awesome. But
interesting.
That, and I had one magic jerkbait tree. I had a magic jig tree. And a couple cranking bags. But that was pretty much what I ran. It was my little milk run.
So this was your first time to Lake Fork. And like you said, 8-pounders for everybody. I don't know. This might be the first time in a professional level event that we've had 5 double-digit bass in one event. The old Clear Lake Bassmaster event maybe did that. Maybe a Lake Falcon 2008 did that, but I'm not for sure. I'll have to go back and look. But for sure, in recent history, this is the only 5 double-digit bass in a single event. So this being your first time to Lake Fork, A, this is a tough lake to catch them on. These fish are hard to catch. So, A, how did you figure it out? And B, what were your thoughts on Lake Fork?
Well, I come from Lake Guntersville. It's probably the par for par as pressured as Fork.
Yeah.
And I honestly think if you just took all the timber out of Fork, they fish very similar, in my opinion, because the fish on Guntersville relate to the ditches just like they relate to Fork.
Yes.
So, that's what helped me key in on that. And then as far as the standing timber goes, how I prepared for this lake was just a ton of YouTube research, and that's how I stumbled upon Billy's page, and I consumed all of his content for the last 4 years. When I say I watched every video of his about free-spawn fishing, I watched it. And that's how I don't have anything else to do between tournaments other than fish, practice my active target, and get ready. And, I learn from the people who are out there experiencing it every day, and I can't tell you just the guests you have on. I pick up different things from different people, and the main things were the 10 to 15 foot creek channel swings with the bigger hardwood trees that were right on the edge of the channel that basically created a ledge with the root ball overhanging the ledge that they would sit under. And I used my active target in practice, and this takes a lot of time to do, guys. So I was really thankful to find one juice tree, and I found some more that I think I could never get in a bite, but it takes time because you have to get on your active target and troll down each one of these creek channels and just look and see where the fish are. A lot of the best way to practice is just not casting. That's the most efficient way. That's why these guys are so good. They'll go through a field of timber with their active target and never fish, and we'll mark every tree that has fish. And when we come back, we'll only go to the trees that we mark fish on, and we'll be looking along the way. So we're just not wasting any time on dead water.
Just more efficient.
Yeah. So I think that's another reason that you saw a lot of 10-pounders caught, is one was free-spawn, but two, just the technology. They can't hide, and there was less acreage of water for them to be in, so it all put them in the standing timber, and these guys just really took advantage of that.
It's pretty unbelievable fishery, isn't it? I mean, I know
I love it.
You come from one of the best fisheries, but I mean, Fork it's special place.
It is, and even as pressured as it is, I started getting used to catching 5-pounders. Like I was
Yep.
I was getting desensitized.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
No, when I went back to look at Guntersville, I was like, man, it's better. Like the average fish size is better than Guntersville, but it's a testament to the slot limit.
True. No doubt. Yeah, it's funny when I have guide customers in the boat over here. It's kind of a little joke that I love to play on, especially when you know how it is guiding because that's where you come from. You're a guide. When you're on a roll, like you kind of know what fish you can expect to catch day to day when you're out there every day. And so when we're on a roll and we're catching good ones, like if I catch the first 4 or 5 pounder, I will literally unhook it and toss it back as fast as I can, just to turn around and see the look on their face. Because people coming from most places, you got your 4 or 5 pounder, they get excited. I act like it's a race to get it back in the water, and they look at me like, "Oh, what did he just throw that back for?" Like no picture, nothing. It blows their mind, So we get spoiled and desensitized here. I do want to ask, do you guys have any question for Ryan? I mean, a lot of knowledge here. This guy came down here and broke it down as good as anybody. So nobody's got any questions. Ryan, we're covering the topics very well.
Awesome.
We're being very, very thorough.
One thing I could pass on that for some reason there are magic places. And I'm sure this changes throughout the seasons on Fork.
It does.
But there are definitely magic trees, magic docks, magic ditches that they're like literally 5 yards wide. And for some reason, fish just keep reloading and reloading. Casey Ashley had a magic dock. Burge just had a really good area that he would just stay in. I had one magic jerkbait tree, and man, I can't tell you why or what. I have no idea why. It was just out of the field of trees, they wanted to be on this one, and it was sawed off just below the surface, and it was a straight pole. And they wanted to be on that one for whatever reason. And when I tell you there was 5 to 10 bass on this one tree, there were 5 to 10 bass every day. And then in the tree surrounding them, there were fish swimming around.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty strange how this lake does that. And it patterns, and they go back to the same areas year after year, almost regardless of the water level. At times they get in the same kind of stretches of creek or whatever at a particular time of year. And what's really ironic about you mentioning that is, so you were up there, you saw the old guarantee tree. You were up north where Alton ended up winning the event today. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but the Bassmaster event back in April where Lee won it was basically those same fish. When he caught 42 pounds that last day, it's those same fish. They're just south. That island that's just south of the guarantee tree? Mm-hmm. That's where Lee caught 42 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's that little stretch is just got them, man. And there's other stretches, too. Glade has been known to have them like that over the years. Birch, Dale Creek at times has them like that, which is where Wheeler did a lot of his damage early in the competition, was in the mouth of Dale Creek, which is always the same way. And very, very much true. When you come to Lake Fork, there are certain little areas that hold them year after year. And they'll move around a little bit here and there, like Ryan's talking about, and they'll certainly move throughout the seasons. But there are definitely areas of this lake that are better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
go ahead.
One thing I wanted to ask you, so on that one particular tree that we had featured in videos right before you got here, and then you found it in the tournament, and you caught some good fish off of it, I know you caught at least one good one off of it. One thing I noticed, though, is on that tree, I fished it from the opposite side that you did, and I don't know if that was wind dictated or what, but I was kind of over on the other side of the tree, and I was having my jig fall down into the creek channel, and it looked like on camera when I saw you on it that you were actually dragging up the uphill. You were dragging up the hill of the creek bend. Is that correct?
So the live coverage can be deceiving. So at one moment I was.
Okay.
So something that I do on any spot or magical play, or like let's just say a school of fish. I'm going to call that spot. That's a legit school of fish, and they're just related to that tree.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is they're in that creek channel, and if you have active target on or forward-facing sonar, that is one of the most loaded ditches with bait and bass, and they're always swimming in. And for some reason, it's like a hotel. They just stop there, which is why it's reloading all the time. But when I find a place like that, I'm constantly fishing a circle around it because they're, for whatever reason, at any given time of day, they'll want it from a different angle.
Right.
And every day I caught them at a different angle off of it.
Interesting. Interesting. See, you just taught me something because I've always come and fished it from the same angle every day where the jig falls down into the creek, and I've never even gone around the other side. So you just taught me something there. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. What else, brother? What else you want to talk about on Lake Fork? You got anything? Y'all getting ready for Smith Lake coming up, I think?
Yep, we start practice on Monday. Man, I caught a nasty little cold for a few days. Actually, this afternoon I started feeling a lot better, but fishing in that freezing rain gave me a cold.
Yeah.
So if I made the championship day, I would have been pitiful out there today, man. I was just running nose. They would have been laughing. I couldn't even talk. This morning, I sound a ton better. But does anybody travel and fish tournaments that's in the crowd?
Anybody? Yep. Yeah, I got a young man. He's a high school angler, but he fishes a ton of tournaments. He's a really good young angler. He does.
Awesome. So the best advice I can give you is to just keep an open mind and drive the lake when you get to a certain place and look for things that suit your style for what your strengths are and where you're at in your career. So when you're a high schooler, you might be good at throwing a crankbait or a shaky head. So when you come to a tournament to compete, focus on your strengths. But when you're not in the tournament, practice. Go out. A lot of people gauge their success on how many fish did I catch, or did I catch big ones? When I was coming up to get to where I was a good guide and whatever, I would just set goals for the day. I want to get better at crankbaits, or I want to get better at swim baits. I want to get better at forward-facing sonar. And I would just go out and focus on those things. And I still do that in my off time. Getting ready for this tournament, every day on Gunnersville, I was out there. I didn't care if I caught a fish. I was chasing fish on my active target just so I was getting more practiced with it. And that's how you develop different skill sets. So when you do show up to a tournament, you're not trying something new. You already have some confidence built up in these techniques.
Good advice. Yeah. Very good advice. Yeah, I've during the off season, I used to do things, Ryan. I would actually, before I was guiding, I would actually take everything out of my boat except for one technique, and I'd spend a weekend or 3 or 4 days or whatever throwing a jerkbait or throwing a jig or whatever technique I picked that I wanted to work on. I would go out when it was tough in the winter and focus on only trying to learn how to catch fish on that technique to build confidence in it. Yep.
Absolutely. That's something the guys that are usually really good in their field, that's what they do. That's just what you got to do. That's seat time. You got to get the seat time with the jig, seat time with the jerkbait, and get good at it.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Anybody got any questions for Ryan? We do got another tournament angler. I didn't see he walked in late. Oh, JJ's back there in the back. All right. No questions for Ryan? We all in? All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, brother. What a great finish, and thank you so much for. It's had to be an exhausting week and all that cold wind and rain and all that. So we can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us and help us all catch more and bigger fish, because that's what we all about here at your Lake Fork Guide, dude. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I can't thank you enough for making the YouTube videos. Helped me a lot in the tournament, and listen to Billy. He knows what he's talking about.
Means a lot, dude. Means a lot that you guys respect what I do. I appreciate that. Get some rest and go catch them up and get in that top 10 at Smith, bub.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, later on. So one of the best things about this sport in general is the people in it. See what I'm saying? Like, this guy just put everything on the line all week, and weather that 99% of us sitting here and watching wouldn't even go out in, dude. Like, no way. We wouldn't go out in it. And he went out there, put it on the line, just got home, been feeling sick. He don't care. Let's talk fishing. I mean, they're just good people, and they're passionate about the sport, and they love the sport, and they love the people of it, and they're just really, really good people. There's so many, like the vast majority. I can count on one hand how many guys that I've met at that level that I'm like, I don't really like that guy. You know what I mean? Like, they're all just so nice and open and helpful. Speaking of that, we've had Ryan. If you guys are watching this on video, it's on Saturday. So this will be tomorrow for y'all, but for you guys in the crowd, it'll be on Sunday evening. I haven't confirmed it with him yet, but before the tournament, me and Jacob Wheeler talked, so we should have Jacob Wheeler on the podcast Sunday evening. And then next week starts the Bassmaster Classic on Friday. Well, sometime the week following that, we're going to get on with Dave Mercer and get the behind-the-scenes inside info from Mercer. So stay tuned to the channel, because we got a lot of tournament coverage, so to speak, coming up over the next couple of weeks. What an event that was that we just watched. I mean, it was really cool. Here's what my favorite part of the whole event, even though Ryan gave me a huge shout-out during live coverage and, mentioned that he practiced for this tournament before he got here by watching the stuff we put out, which is an awesome honor for guys at that level to be watching the content we make. Means a lot to me. But that was a really cool moment. My phone blew up when it happened. Like when it happened, I was on a guide trip on another lake because I didn't want to guide out here when they were out here. So I was on a guide trip on another lake, and my phone just, I looked down, in like 10 seconds, I had like 20 or 30 text messages from guys telling me that he had just give us a shout out on the live coverage. That was really cool. But my favorite moment was the last moment. Did anybody watch the last moment today of this event? So Alton Jones Jr., obviously Alton Jones' son, they were both in the top 10 today. That may be the first time we've ever seen that, by the way.
I think so. I think they said that when they...
The Hibdons might have done it back in the day on the old Bassmaster Top 1 whatever, or the beginning of the Elite Series maybe, because I believe that Guido and Dion, or maybe the old FLW Tour, Guido and Dion were both fishing the same trail, but I don't know that they were ever both in like the top 5, top 10 on the last day.
Well, I know they said it was the first time that they've been in the top 10 in the MLF.
Yes, for sure in MLF it's the first time, but in the entire history of bass fishing, this may have been the first time we've seen a father and son at that level competing in the final 10 on the last day. That was really special, and if you watched and you heard the interviews from Alton, like I don't even think Alton really wanted to win. I think he wanted it, especially once his son jumped out to the lead. He didn't even want to win. He was fishing, but he kind of wanted his kid to win, and his mind was elsewhere. You could tell. But this guy, obviously, Alton Jr.'s been brought up in this world, lived and breathed this sport since the day he was born. At the last moment when it won, if you didn't see it, I'm sorry for you because it was pretty special. I mean, this guy was choked up. That's not money. Like, that's not a $100,000 check. I mean, this kid's grown up with Alton Jones being his dad. He's no stranger to money. You know what I mean? His dad's been one of the most successful guys in his field since he was born. This kid doesn't, I'm sure he needs the money, but, like, he doesn't need the money, right? Like, he's not choked up because he won $100,000. He's choked up because of what this means to him and all the hours that he's put in on the water. There's two young guys that I know, this guy and I know that guy really well back there. And these guys as teenagers have put in more hours than most people will ever do. And you let one of these guys grow up and get to that level, which these two right here might be there, I'm telling y'all. I know both these kids. They both have a chance to get there someday if they want to keep going at it and they're willing to work as hard as everybody else is. It's all those hours. Those night fishing trips, JJ, when nobody's on the lake, right? You out there when it's cold, when I'm the only guy guiding, I see you. You're the only other boat out there. I pull in and you're pulling in. It's those hours for years and years and years, and it culminates in this moment. And there's no faking that. There's no hiding that. There's no stopping it. Alton Jr. even said, he's like, dude, I always make fun of the guys that cried, and here I am crying, you know. And I'll be honest with you, I was watching it, the final moments as I was driving up here, and I could get tears in my eyes for him, you know, like.
And he's had some real close calls, too.
It's just something, I think that's why we all love sports in general, like all sports, right? It's this putting it all out there on the line, sacrificing so much of your life, and just giving your all to everything, and finally achieving, reaching the top of that mountain is something that most people can only dream of in life. We all try in our own ways. Some try harder than others. Usually on the right side, they try harder than on the left. Anyways, but no, some try harder than others. But when you see somebody achieve that, it's just an emotional experience for you. You're sharing it with them. You're in it with them. And then to do it in something like this where most of us started fishing with our dad. The vast majority of fishermen are men. There are females now more than ever. But most of us at some point started fishing with our dad. And so there's an emotional tie there. And just to see that all come together in a sport that's so wholesome and brings peace to so many people's lives, just being on the water. There's just not anything else like this game, guys. There's nothing else like it. It's not the biggest sport in the world by any means. It's a very, very small industry. But there's nothing that is as special as that moment that we just saw with Alton Jr. at the end of coverage today. So to Alton Jr., man, congratulations, dude. That was really special for all of us to watch here at Lake Fork, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, what are we going to do going forward? Yes, sir.
What was exciting was watching, they had all four of the top four on at one time
Mm-hmm.
on the phone, and my eyes were on E-Bear. And you hear what Alton Jones did that last one, especially when he got 30 seconds. Just watching E-Bear there, just see, you just felt like he's going to grab one right here real quick and see if he had time to get it in.
Or for that matter, being those two and knowing you have a guy like Jacob Wheeler 6 pounds away from you.
And on this lake,
You know.
where that's one bite. Like,
How
that's
many
it. That's
times he's ruined people's dreams right there at the last minute.
yeah, because I mean, as he's reeling his bait in the last minute, 8-pounder bites, and he boat flips it. It's done, dude. Forget the 2-minute penalty. We're boat flipping that one. You know what I mean? Like, that is the best thing that Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour has going for it, is that buzzer beater aspect of their format. That is phenomenal and genius. Now, we can all sit here and talk about better test of fishermen, best 5 or total catches. You know what? If you look at it, most of the time, the guy that wins total weight also won best 5, generally speaking. And then they reset the weights. There's debate about that. What's the truer test? We can go back and forth on that. The bottom line is it's the same rules for everybody in the field, and both of them are testing how good you catch them. Yeah. But it's the same rules for everybody in the field.
Most of these guys fish other 5-fish tournaments and win there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when they go down and fish the whatever they call the FLW tour now, it's got 37 acronyms or whatever it is. Big 5, I think, MLF Big 5. So when they go down, some of these guys that fish Bass Pro Tour go down and fish that, they win there too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a difference. But anyway, the best thing they have going is that buzzer beater aspect. You're right, because it's real, it's live, and it's official. With Bassmaster Live, that's great, but it's not official until they weigh them on the stage. Yeah. Like, when they cut the live coverage off, dude, it's done here, and that takes away the stage aspect and the crowd aspect from the events, but it adds to the visual product on TV or on live streaming to me in a major way. I think it's phenomenal, because I sat there for, I think, the last 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Nobody got a bite in that top 4. Nobody got a bite in the last 5 minutes. And, dude, I was driving, and I was, like, about to wreck, bro, because I'm, like, watching. Like, I can't take my eyes off of it, because I know, like, at any second, if Ebear or Wheeler sets a hook, this whole tournament can change. Or if Junior sets a hook, it can change the tournament.
Yeah, and all of them within, 6 pounds out.
Yeah, and Ebear was in ounces. It was one keeper for Ebear. He was 10 ounces. And so that format is just incredible for drama and intensity. I mean, can you imagine being Dakota Ebear right now?
Well, and you can
10 ounces, dude.
Incredible for drama, but you can feel it off of them watching them. Like, you could see
feel it through the screen,
emotions and just tension.
You can. You could, yes, you could. His inflection in his voice changed dramatically.
Watching Zach Burge lose those 2 fish,
dude,
where he could have been had he had them.
Dude, I was thinking about that through that in that last hour. I kept thinking about that. I'm like, dude, if you had 15 pounds to him, he's right there. Yeah. And that was easily 15 pounds he dumped, and probably more.
Wheeler caught that one 8-something and then lost to 6 right at the boat.
Which
was 6 pounds away.
That would have been it. Like, he'd have been there. I mean, he might have been ahead. He might have been right behind, but he'd have been right there.
All that is what makes it great television.
It is great. It is great television. So I'm a big Bassmaster fan, and I have many more personal relationships on the Elite Series. And I've been a Bassmaster fan since I was a baby, man. So I'm never going away from that. But, dude, I like both, right?
I'm a fishing fan.
And there's room for both. And here's the real deal. I wish that we could cut out the whatever rivalry headbutting we got that goes on between these two organizations. Just stop. Quit scheduling tournaments on top of each other. It's a small industry. Let's do MLF. Why don't y'all work together? Let's do MLF one week, then the next week Bass goes, and then we can rotate it. You guys are the 2 biggest shows. Y'all are pretty dang